Okay, now he's talking about how he had to delay his entrance into Sandhurst because he had an injury, he says. Now, he says that the press completely maligned him in this entire situation because they said that he'd been up to no good. And they said that he was a coward and that there was all these sort of nefarious reasons why he had not entered Sandhurst at proper time. And he's here to set the record straight. He says that the royal family has always maintained ties with the military, and they do all these sorts of like exercises and things with the military. I'm not entirely sure why they would be doing it. He writes and he says that Mummy had taken he and William to this exercise, this military exercise, to this quote unquote killing house in Herefordshire, and he says that the three of them were put into a room and told not to move, and then the room went dark, and then a squad kicked in the door, and there were flashbangs going off, and it was supposed to scare them really bad. Because it was supposed to teach them how to respond if they were ever in a position in which their life was in danger. Okay, so Mommy took them to that little fun time. And throughout his life, he'd always done these exercises with the military. And when he got older, he was like, it was less of him being shown what the military would do for him if he were in a crisis and needed to be rescued, and more like him involved in the actual military exercise. So on one of these little fun times, he and William went together, and they were climbing up and down these ladders, and there was paintball guns involved, and at one point he was scuttling down his flight of metal stairs. Somebody cut the lights, he said, to make it seem more exciting and thrilling, and at that point he stumbled down the stairs, and he skipped the 4 last steps of the staircase, landed on his left knee. Oh, this is so gross. Which was immediately impaled on a fixed bolt sticking out of the floor. That is so nasty. Oh, your knees. Oh, ew. Like I have to grab my knees. Oh, just the thought of it. Oh, I can't. Okay, so as you can imagine, he's wounded desperately. And he said that he tried to stand up and finish the drill, but at the end of the exercise, when they jumped into the water, he found his leg wasn't working. And when he got out of his wetsuit and peeled off all his clothes, his knee was just gushing blood. As you can imagine, since it was just impaled by a bolt. He says, Willie looked down and turned pale. I guess Willie can't stand the sight of blood, or the fact that your knee is grossly, disgustingly torn apart. The paramedics were there within minutes. I should hope so. I'm sure they were on standby. And then he says that the reporters... Okay, so of course he can't enter the army at this point. He's wounded. Grievously wounded. And he says that the Palace Comms team told the rabid press that Prince Harry had injured his knee playing polo. Oh no, he'd injured his knee playing rugby. Okay. I don't understand why they would lie about that. I mean, maybe they don't want anybody to know. Apparently it was sort of hush-hush that they would play these, games with the military and that the princes would be involved. Okay. I mean, I think we can assume that something like that was probably going on. Why wouldn't they? I mean, they got nothing else to do between their charities. And so the press decides that he didn't hurt his knee playing rugby. Probably didn't even hurt his knee at all. He's probably just super, super, super cowardly. That's what his problem is. So he's mad. He's mad that they are he says that they're taking their revenge on him because they knew that they knew the story about his rugby injury wasn't real. And so he says in order to get back at him for being told a false story, they just decided to up the ante and say that he was a coward. Like they've got time for that. I mean, what? How does he think the world works? That's not how it works. They're not over here printing lies to get back at you because they don't think that they got something close enough to the truth, so then they just make up a bigger lie. I'm not saying they're not over there fabricating the truth, but I don't think that's their motivation. Please. Okay.